Afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar this afternoon. My name is Tyson Mavar. I'm an advisor here with the Retirement Group in Texas. And on today's webinar series, we're going to focus on pension plans, specifically the options that many of our clients and corporate employees that we work with have when taking their pension and when planning from their retirement from their corporation. So those of you who may not be as familiar with the Retirement Group, we are an independent financial planning organization that specializes in assisting corporate employees in planning for and transitioning into retirement, and we manage retirement assets on the back end. We do that through Charles Schwab. We're an independent company, and we're not affiliated with any of the companies whose plans we specialize with, but over the last couple decades, we've been working with a handful of different companies across the U.S. in an attempt to, number one, add more value than any financial advisor out there adds with relation to the options that our clients have on taking their benefits. We're talking about the pension plan, the 401k plan, the health plan, and a lot of the tax ramifications of accessing those benefits, as well as when these offers come up, helping to evaluate early retirement package if you are fortunate enough to have that option. So today we're going to talk about pension plans, as it's one of the largest resources many of our clients have when they're leaving their company. I encourage you, if you get enough value on this call, I would talk to one of our advisors that specializes in your company's plans, as we have advisors throughout the country, each one of them focusing only on a handful of companies so as not to dilute our focus too much from the companies who we want to make clients from. Now, for those of you who aren't as familiar with us, we have a team that's across the country. We work with corporations all over the country and have combined knowledge of over 150 years working with retirees of Fortune 500 companies. One of the benefits of working with us, or one of the complimentary services that we offer, is a cash flow analysis to help you identify when's the best time to retire, how to pay as little in taxes as possible, and what are some of the penalties of different choices you have in retirement. How to roll over your money from your 401k successfully, what investments might be appropriate based on your particular circumstances. And one of the biggest decisions that we help people with is how to take the pension plan. And not just which option to pick, but when to elect the pension, and what are the different ramifications of taking a pension a different way. So we'll talk a little bit about that. If you have interest in having us run your cash flow because it's been a while since we've updated your analysis, or maybe you've never had us run one, we don't charge anything for it, but that's the best way we could start to answer some of these difficult questions, like when's the best time to retire? Should you take the lump sum, or might you consider the annuity option? Does it make sense to pay off debt in retirement, or maybe even assume debt through retirement? All of these questions are difficult ones, and many of them are irrevocable, but all of them can be answered by the cash flow analysis, and that's why we do it complimentary as an attempt to get to know people that want to do work with us, whether or not they actually do any business with us. Here's some different seminars and webinars that we host throughout the year, going over different topics related to the transition process. But today we're going to focus mainly on pension options. And we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of different decisions that many of our clients have. But the best way we can focus on the issues that are important to you and your company is by having us run that cash flow analysis. And here's the information that we need to run that. So if you have interest in that, you can call us at the office. We'll tell you what we need to put that together. And then we can schedule either a web meeting, an in-person meeting, or maybe just a meeting over the phone, whatever is most appropriate for you, to talk about how that cash flow analysis will hopefully help you out in your retirement decisions. This is a picture of what we call the three-legged stool. These are the resources, or the primary resources at least, that many of our clients have when they retire from their company. Social Security is an entitlement, they call it, but it's something that we paid into for most of our careers. And it's something that we have decisions on, and hopefully we can add some insight into what decisions might be appropriate based on a series of questions we'll ask, and figuring out things like life expectancy and family benefits and different resources you have. But turns out decisions with these three buckets actually are not independent. They depend on one another. For instance, if you wait to take Social Security until you are 70, of course, you'll have more money when you start to collect, assuming that you actually make it to age 70. But there's going to be a gap in income that we need to figure out whether we are pulling more money out of your 401k plan, Maybe we are recommending you take the lump sum on your pension to allow you to have that liquidity. Another example would be if you take the annuity on your pension plan, many corporate annuities do not get cost of living adjustments. In other words, if you start your retirement with $4,000 per month for life, 20 years later, you'll still be getting that same $4,000 per month for the rest of your life. And unfortunately, that $4,000 probably won't buy you as much 20 years down the road because of inflation. But the point is that Social Security does get cost of living adjustments, and how you take your pension plan may play a role in how we recommend you take your Social Security. But the point is, there's a lot of decisions with regards to these three buckets of resources that our clients have. And we're here to help you understand how the three will play a role into recreating your paycheck once you leave the paycheck that you've enjoyed from the company that you've worked for maybe several decades. Now, on pension plans, many of the companies we work with have a lump sum option where you can take your entire pension one-time payment. You can roll it over into an IRA or maybe a Roth IRA. You can also take that directly to yourself, which almost always we don't recommend because it becomes taxable. So there's some tax issues with the pension plan, and there's also some issues with interest rates on lump sums. Many of you know on defined benefit plans, lump sums go up when interest rates go down, and we happen to be in a unique situation where interest rates are at all-time lows, meaning that lump sums are at all-time highs. Now, every company observes those interest rates differently. In other words, they will look at different rates. They might look at the government rates or the treasury bonds. They might look at the corporate bond rates, which are the most common rates to look at today with the Pension Protection Act that took place. And there's actually three different interest rates that they'll look at that they call the segment rates, looking at short, medium, and long-term corporate bonds. But the point is, the lower interest rates will result in a higher lump sum payout. And you can use this knowledge to your advantage to time your pension election and potentially actually time your retirement to maximize what you walk away from the company with. Now, each company, like I mentioned earlier, observes this differently. Some companies will look 2 quarters previously to the month that you are electing or commencing your benefit, and they'll use those interest rates. Some companies will change their interest rates quarterly. Some companies change their interest rates monthly. One company I work with actually changes their interest rates annually, which means that your interest rate's locked in for an entire year. So it's important to understand how your company observes these. So again, we can figure out the timing. What's the best time to not only retire, but to also take our pension, because most companies we work with will allow you to wait to elect your pension. And there could be a variety of reasons that you might consider doing that to maximize what you walk away from the company with. Now, although lump sums are very popular right now, they're not for everyone. And there's a variety of reasons that the annuity options could be more appropriate for you and your family. Some reasons that I've seen some of my clients be attracted to the annuity because they like the feeling of certainty of a lifetime of payments. And most of these annuity payments on these pension plans, the default option is to take a single life annuity where you are getting a paycheck for the rest of your life. And then once you pass away, the payments stop. Most companies also have a joint survivor option where you and one other participant, oftentimes a spouse, but in many companies it doesn't have to be a spouse, will get payments for the rest of both of your lives. So it's a joint life annuity. There's other various options such as period certain, where you get a lifetime of payments with a certainty that somebody will be getting paid for a certain number of years if you don't live to that certain period of time. Maybe it's 20 years, and your beneficiaries will collect the remaining payments if you don't make it to that 20-year period. Uniform income is another typical option where the company will give you more money in the early years of retirement and less money in the late years. The justification behind that is if somebody is not yet qualified for Social Security when they retire, they might need some extra income in those early years. Not a very typical option that we see taken, though, as most people will use their 401k plan or their other savings accounts to bridge the gap from retirement to Social Security age. There's a variety of different pension options and reasons that you might take it, but the reason that we see our clients attracted to the annuity are certainty, a certainty of payments. Life expectancy is another one. If you are somebody who intends on or expects to live a long life, it might be a good thing to be in the company's pockets for a long time. You might have just a comfort level with continuing to get a paycheck from the same company that you've enjoyed one for maybe many years. There's also a variety of benefits to the lump sum that we see attractive. Mainly, the one that I hear most is the option to have a death benefit. In other words, if you don't spend all the money that you had earned in that pension plan, you can leave the remainder to a beneficiary, such as a family member or maybe a cause that's important to you, versus just leaving it to the company. So that's what we work with folks with, is understanding what's important to them and then backing into what pension option will likely meet their needs the best. But most importantly, we have a white paper that goes over the two main factors when figuring lump sum versus annuity. And the main two factors we look at are life expectancy and internal rate of return, or the return on your money if you were to invest it or if you were to take the lump sum. Of course, the higher the rate of return you assume, the more attractive the lump sum looks. And the higher the life expectancy in retirement that you assume, the more attractive the annuity looks. So given a specific internal rate of return or investment rate, average rate of return on your lump sum, you can actually figure out where the break-even point is, or essentially where you need to live to have made more sense to take the annuity. And if you pass away before that age, it actually made more sense to take the lump sum. Or you can flip things around and say, for a given life expectancy, what rate of return do I need to earn to be indifferent between the annuity and the lump sum payment? So seeing that break-even point oftentimes for our clients is very helpful exercise to go through, so that if you're somebody who maybe doesn't expect as long of a life, you might be more attracted to the lump sum. Or if you're somebody who just does not like volatility or uncertainty with your investments, then you might be more attracted to the annuity. Lots of different variables there, but we like to get to know our clients and get their feedback on what's important to them. And then we can start to maybe tell some stories of success stories our clients have had with different options. But it's not a one-size-fits-all decision. Everybody's different and everybody has different values. Even though many of our clients come from the same companies, we want to help to add some insight into what we've seen and people making good decisions and how that's worked out for them in their retirement plans. So to wrap it up, our best advice is to, number one, make sure that you're working with somebody, whether it's a financial advisor or a trusted a person that can have some knowledge about your retirement benefits options, or maybe that they've helped somebody that's in the same shoes as you retire from the same company as you. That's why a lot of our clients like working with us, is because number one, we have references from their company that have worked with us and had the success story, but also they have confidence that we're going to not let them make any mistakes through this stressful transition. Understand the costs. Whoever you're working with, there's going to be costs involved. So with the retirement group, we don't have, again, a one-size-fits-all fee or portfolio. Some people don't need as much help as others, and we can cut the costs. You may be somebody who is more aggressive, and typically the more aggressive the portfolio, the more resources we have to employ and the higher the costs go. But everybody's different, so we sit down and go through the cash flow analysis, and we can give you an idea of what type of expenses you're going to incur, and it might not be for you. Or you can take that information and go shop around from other advisors. And what we recommend looking for is the lowest cost of service with the highest level of value that you're getting for the service. So understanding the costs as well as the value proposition we find to be very important in that evaluation. Make sure whoever you're working with has an experienced team. I think the key word there is team. Just myself, we have a team in San Diego in our home office that is constantly doing research and helping us with the investments, placing trades, doing marketing, reaching out to clients, communication, all of these things that you would want from an advisor. It's very difficult for one individual to provide that. So we encourage people to, whoever you work with, make sure they have a team behind them, as well as having a succession plan if something happens to your advisor, knowing what the backup plan is. And we feel we have a pretty deep roster at the retirement group. And lastly, understanding what's important to you about your retirement. It may be purely performance net after fees. It could be knowledge of your benefits plans or expertise in somebody who's going through the same situation as you. It could be a user-friendly website, easy to read statements, easy to communicate with, whether it's just because you have a good relationship with your advisor or somebody that has constant contact and frequency of communication. All of those things we found is important to many of our clients. So we want to get to know what's important to you and to make sure that before we take you on as a client, we can actually offer some of those value propositions that you're looking for. And then make sure whoever you work with or meet with has a financial plan, and don't pay for one, because there's plenty of advisors out there that will do a very comprehensive cash flow analysis, including the retirement group, at no charge. And whoever you're working with or considering working with, make sure they continue to update that through your retirement, because we don't just wash our hands after we have set up our client's retirement plan. We're looking to continually make sure that changes in their life are taken into consideration when we are making changes to their investment portfolio, or recommending how much they can afford to spend, or putting together a tax efficient strategy that allows them to minimize their taxes so as to maximize their retirement paycheck. And update periodically. Keep us up to speed with what's going on in your life, and we'll keep you up to speed on what's going on in the markets and tax rules, in politics, and in the issues that affect you and your financial well-being in retirement. How to reach us? You can call us at the home office to schedule an appointment, whether it's a phone appointment, a web meeting, or maybe you just have some generic questions. We can be reached at 800-900-5867. Ask to speak with a retirement specialist, and we'll be happy to help you in any way that we can. And home office at 800-900-5867. Set up an appointment with one of our specialists in your company's plans, or somebody locally, whether it's a phone appointment, a web meeting, maybe an in-person appointment if that's best for you. And I encourage everybody to take a look at our ebook libraries. We have a lot of updated resources, very quick reads related to your company's investment options, related to the current economy and what's going on in the stock market right now, as well as interest rates, and also decisions that you have, such as Social Security, estate planning, all of the different retirement decisions. We've tried to put together an easy to read and comprehensive ebook that you can go through and hopefully add some insight into your decision-making process. That, I want to thank everybody for joining today's webinar. Everybody have a wonderful and safe weekend, and we look forward to hopefully talking to you all soon.